Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to all the new subscribers too. Thank you guys for the support, really appreciate it. Today I'm going to show you guys some super hip chord substitutions. Hopefully some of these shapes will inspire you and spice up your chord progressions. So the way I think about chords, I learned kind of from the Joe Pass method. Any chord can basically be put into three categories: a major chord, a minor chord, or a dominant seventh chord. In dominant seventh, in my mind at least, there's two sort of subcategories of dominant seventh. A static dominant, which is where you're just hanging on dominant seventh, or a resolving seventh where it's a 5 chord resolving down to the 1 chord. So today we're going to be looking at some chord voicings that you can sub in for a major chord. In all these examples today, we're going to be subbing out for an E major chord. So instead of something boring like this, or this, not that there's anything wrong with those chords, it's just that they're pretty vanilla sounding and kind of plain, right? So I'm going to show you guys some super hip, lush, beautiful chord sounds that you can play instead of just a regular old E major. These are extremely useful in jazz music, but also a lot of like that kind of emo Midwest math rock sort of sound, indie rock, all kinds of like things wherever you want sort of an interesting color to the sound on top of a major chord. A lot of these chords have pretty big stretches, which is what allows us to introduce these cool color tones next to each other and create some interesting tonal characteristics to the chord voicing. Before we get started though, I have to mention just a couple tips whenever you're playing big chord voicings, or maybe this is even helpful if you're just starting out and you're learning just regular bar chords first. A couple of things. Make sure that your guitar is up on your chest a little bit higher up. Just get it up here where you're holding it closer. That's going to allow your wrist to come down a little bit more, and you're going to have a better hand position, which will allow you to stretch this way. If you're holding it way down, like by your waist, Jimmy Page style, it's just not going to happen. You're never going to be able to play these bigger chord shapes. The other big helpful tip is to keep your left-hand fingernails really, really short, because any amount of extra fingernail is going to force your fingers to play flat on the neck rather than up on the tips. And that's a pretty big deal when you're doing some of these bigger stretches. So trim those suckers up. Should be about like this. No white part on the end of the fingernails. Okay, so let's get into it. Once again, I've got a PDF of this entire lesson, all the chord shapes and all that, and you can download it for free on my website. There will be a download link in the description down below. Completely free, no strings attached. You don't have to sign up for any BS. Just there for you guys to practice. So let's get into these shapes. So this is an E add 9. We've got the major third. We've got the 5th. We've got the root note with our middle finger. And then we've got our pointer finger on the 2nd fret, which is the 9th of the chord. Okay, the next voicing is kind of related to that. We're going to keep the major third in the bass. Then we're going to add the 6th with our pinky. So it'll be ring finger, pinky, middle finger on the E. So this is an E6. But then we're also going to add the 9th again with our pointer finger so that we get a 6-9 shape. And I'm just playing this open E in the bass so we can keep track of the sound of the E. Okay, and the next shape is also related to this. This is just a same thing, but we're going to add a major 7th in there. So what we're going to do is keep our pinky on the major third. We're going to add our middle finger here on the 4th fret. Then we're going to add our, which is the 5th, we're going to add our ring finger on the major 7th, which is 4th fret. And then we're going to keep the 9th on top like this. This is a really big, kind of a harder stretch one. It also helps if you get the neck tilted up just a little bit at a higher angle. It allows you to stretch more. This next one is one of my all-time favorite chord voicings. I just love the sound of this. This is an E major 7th. So starting here on the 5th fret, we're going to play the E with our pointer finger, 2nd string. We're going to do the B on top with our ring finger. We're going to do the major 7th which is 8th fret with our pinky on the 3rd string. And then we're going to do our middle finger down on the 6th fret. So this is an E major 7, but unlike a lot of our block voicings that we learn when we're first playing like jazz chords or whatever, which might sound like that or like this one has this interval in the middle, right next to each other. Anytime we have a chord where there's a second or a minor second interval in the chord next to each other, it's going to be a really interesting, cool sounding chord. So this one has that right in the middle, which by itself sounds kind of funky, but when we add in all the other notes around it, really lush, sounds kind of like maybe what more of a piano player voicing might sound like. The next chord we're going to play the major 3rd, so this is 6th fret. We're going to do pinky on the E, which is 7th fret. Then we're going to do middle finger on the 7th fret, which is the 9th of the chord, which is the add 9 part. And then we're going to do our ring finger on top on the 7th fret. The next one is very similar, except we're going to move our pinky down a fret, so it's actually an easier shape. And that adds the major 7th, so this is an E major with the 9, so we call it E major 9. Okay, now we're going to try to keep a closed voicing right here and add also the 6th to it. So this next shape is a big stretcher. Sounds so cool though. We're going to do ring finger on the 11th fret, middle finger on the 9th fret, pointer finger on the 7th fret. So this is 6th, root, 9th, and then with our pinky finger we're going to play the major 7 up top, which is the 11th fret. So it's 11, 9, 7, 11. Now this one looks kind of crazy. It's got all those tensions in it. Kind of dense, but super cool. Okay, the next one is just a plain E6. This is another one of my favorite voicings. So here we're going to start on the root note actually. E on the 14th fret, ring finger on the 13th fret, which is the major 3rd, middle finger on the 12th fret, which is the 5th of the chord, and then our pointer finger on the 7th fret, which is the 6th of the chord. So root, 3rd, 5th, 6th. I also call this one the Johnny Smith chord because he has a famous tune called Moonlight in Vermont, and this is the very first chord voicing that he plays. That's a pretty big stretch unless you get the neck up, but super pretty. Okay, and then the last couple chord voicings are all going to be based off of that shape. The next one, we're going to add the 11th in, so what we're going to do is root, 3rd, and then instead of 5th, we're going to sub in the 10th fret, which is the 4th of the chord. So we've got root, 3rd, 4th, and then we're going to play the root note again up on the top of the middle finger. This chord has that really crunchy interval in the middle again, which we love. Oh yeah. The next one we're going to do is subbing out the root note up here for the 9th on the 16th fret. So we've got 16. Then we're going to play the 4th of the chord on the 14th fret. Then we're going to play 12. And then the major 3rd up here on the 16th fret as well. So this one is subbing out the 3rd for the 4th, so it's a sus. So we call this E sus with a 9th, so E sus 9. And then finally, a version of this chord, which is really maybe the hardest one of these, I think personally, is taking that chord shape, but then lowering the sus note from the 14th fret down to the 13th. So we've got 16, 13, 12, 16. Okay guys, so there's 11 incredible chord voicings for you guys to add to your vocabulary. A great way to practice these is to take one shape and then practice going back and forth between two chords. So, you know, a really common chord progression is like E to A. So I would take one of these chord shapes, play it in the key of E, then move it up the neck to where the A chord might be. So for example, let's just take this E major 7 right here that we did. So I'll practice going from the E here at the 5th fret up to the A, which is at the 10th fret. You know, and I would do that for each one of these voicings to really get it kind of ingrained in my mind, get the muscle memory of the finger shape. And then you can take two voicings that might be at the same set of frets, same position, and practice switching. So let's take two chords down here at the 2nd fret position. So first one we're gonna do is back to the first chord we practiced, which was this E add 9. And then maybe let's try this A6 chord, which was the Johnny Smith chord. So the top note's gonna stay the same. Alright, so I hope you guys got something out of this. Please hit subscribe if these videos are helping you out. It's the best way to support the channel and really helps me out a lot, so appreciate that. Drop a comment down below. Let me know how these go for you guys, which ones you like the best. I'm going to be making more chord voicing videos in the similar format, so let me know what you guys think. Happy jamming, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.